Thank you so much, Steve. And thank you all for joining this session. As Steve mentioned, I want to touch the publisher power and when and how you all can work with Supersonic. Steve already made the introduction, so I don't need to introduce myself. And maybe to discuss a little bit the agenda that we are going to discuss to have today, we're going to touch few trends impacting the game development ecosystem. Then a few words about who is Supersonic, what is our platform, tools, processes, how do we approach publishing, a few words about our evolution casual, and of course, then I'll be happy to answer and have a Q&A for any topic you might have. Let's start with of the trends that impact game devs today. So what we clearly see is that the ecosystem in terms of creation keeps growing. If we're looking at 2022 versus 2021, this is out of the Unity report, we see about 15% year-over-year increase in games that are actually generated and were submitted to the store. By the way, if you are looking at the App Store or Google Play, the main two stores, we also see an increase there in terms of how many new games are being submitted and going live in the different platforms. We can also see that not only that the quantity goes up, also the actual time to market gets better. From the Unity report, you can see that more than 60% of the creators can ship the game in less than a year, and we see that in general there are many different elements that impact the time to market that different games has today. On the other hand, and in maybe a different trend, we see that it does get harder to make these great games a true business, a profitable business that can generate interesting profit in scale. And there are many reasons for that as well. We'll touch it, but in general, we see that there are more games going live in the stores or being produced via the Unity engine, but less of them are succeeding and actually becoming into strong, stable, and profitable business. And when we try to summarize at why and what impacts these two trends that I discussed, the creation part, we definitely see that again the ever-evolving tech stability and the amount of tools, right? If we're looking at Unity engine and the development versions we have, Unity game services, many other tools that help you with many different parts of the game creation side, it's always gets better and evolving. We see AI, which is a unique thing that's growing in the past year. In my eyes, at least as of today, for game creation part, it mainly helps with content production. So it's easier today to produce content, and once you have a strong core game, and now you need to add a lot of content into it, many new assets that needs to be unique, AI definitely shortened the production cycle for content and assets for your game. And on top of that, the talent pool is also growing. So I think that this is one of the strengths of our industry. The industry is keep growing. More people are becoming part of the games industry. There are more Unity developers, more artists, more game designers out there. And all of these trends help more creators to be able to ship games into the store and faster. On the other hand, we do see some elements on the more growth side that impacting as well, whether it's the competition, and I think that we see today, if we open the top charts in the US or any other leading market, you'll see that there are few big players and publishers that dominate many different positions at the top charts. The level of sophistication that different players they evolve into is very high, and again, it increases the entrance barrier into success for new creators that joins the party. Privacy regulation, we discussed it a lot, right? It started with iOS and now in Android, which is a positive thing for us as a community. But on the other hand, it definitely puts more difficulties on the growth side because you have less granular data. You need to develop new optimization methods that follow the new privacy regulations, which again makes it in some cases more complicated to understand what happens to your user acquisition, monetization, etc. And the last thing, of course, is financial conditions, which we are all aware of as part of the financial tightening. Cost of capital went up, financing is harder, user acquisition is harder, raising money is harder, and all of these are a little bit making the growth side complicated. And I think that this is where and why publishing gets more interesting than ever. Although it was part of the gaming ecosystem for a while, today it has even more value to provide. And I think that it can touch two different or help with two different areas for any creator out there. First of all, some creators, their passion is to remain focused on the game creation part, on building the best experience, building the best game with the most interesting and enjoyable features for a community, and they are less passionate about cracking all the user acquisition, the privacy, the creative, the monetization, the different elements that are more on the growth side of the game. And for whoever is passionate about game creation only, and this is what he wants to build, of course, the publishing partnership is a very optimal relationship to help you to do what you like to do. But even for those that do have the passion also to build more than that, grow their games as well, not only create their games, I think that in today's market, many publishing partnership can maximize much more the business success of the game and can help you understand the growth world much better and become more prepared for next launch, etc. Again, we are running the long run here as we see it. So this is how we look at the industry and what is the value of a publisher. A few words about Supersonic and who are we, what are we doing. First of all, one of our core elements is to bring transparency into the publishing funnel. And I think that there is a big difference between us as a publisher versus a gaming company. So we never inspire to be the big gaming company that publish games. For us, it's more about helping creators succeed, providing the best tech know-how and skills and experience for creators around the world, for them to succeed as part of the entire mission. So I think that the core foundation of Supersonic is different than any other publisher, and I will in few words how it actually comes into expression in different things that we are doing. We are almost 4 years on the road. We started with the hyper-casual publishing only, as Steve mentioned. We have been working with more than 1,000 to date, and I will touch a few of them. And as of 2022, we're the most downloaded gaming publisher in the world. Few example of who is working with us, just to get some reference. So on the left side, you can see Vector Up Games. It's actually a one-man show. Carlton from the US, he is the solo developer behind this entire company, meaning that he is doing the development. He is also leading the art, the game design, etc. Of course, with the publisher support, I will touch it. He has been working with us from the very first in the early days of Supersonic, so 3.5 years. Published with us already 4 games, $240 million in installs, $3 million, $30 million in game revenue. On the right, you can see a recent launch with us, Tallman, which is still in the most downloaded in the US and many other in the stores. On the right side, you can see Paul, which is also a solo developer. He's responsible for the studio. Published with us already 3 games. The last one is Slow Mo Run, which you can see right side. 200 million installed, $36 million in revenue. And these are exactly what we try to achieve, to help solo developers with to build great games, to actually build great businesses also. More examples. So on the left side, we can see Synex. Synex is a company by Gabriel. Gabriel is an ex-Unity developer of Ubisoft, which decided to open his own company and building his own passion and vision. We've published with them Hide and Seek actually in 2020, so more than 3 years ago. Became this one game generated more than 300 million installs worldwide, more than $45 million in revenue, and one of the biggest success per casual world ever. Still a significant part of our business as of today, and we are now evolving it into a more casual version with online real multiplayer elements that are not in the hyper casual version that succeeded by itself. On the right side, you can see Bridge Race, which is a game developed by Garowell. Garowell is not a one-person show, unlike 3 other examples that I gave. It's actually a 12-person studio that is based in Istanbul. They published with us 2 games. Bridge Race is the biggest one, as you can see. Actually was the most downloaded hyper-casual game both in 2021 and 2022, more than 600 million installs and $100 million in game revenue. Very, very unique success in the hyper-casual world. But these are few examples of who is working with Supersonic and what we try to create when we are working with our partners. A few words about our process, our platform, what we are actually doing in this title of publishing process. First of all, before going over stage and tools, I want to give you the broad overview of what we're trying to achieve. So in general, we're providing tools and people that helps you in every stage in the funnel. So on the very, very beginning, before you are building your initial prototype, we have a studio manager, market research, knowledge hub that should help you to start with the right idea that has significant more or bigger likelihood to succeed. Once this passes the initial test and we try to build a full game out of it from this MVP, we're adding a game designer and motion designers that work with you in order to build and optimize this game out of this MVP. Once it moves into a more soft phase, we are adding a product monetization manager, an economy manager that will take care of the monetization foundation of the game. And once we scale it, a growth manager, a social platform manager, a big creative team that will produce many, many creative. And in general, for every stage in the funnel, we are bringing the right people with the right know-how and the right tools to help you to increase your chances to meet the needed KPIs in order to actually build a profitable business. And let's go over these three stages a little bit. In general, our software is developed and an entire platform is developed into these three different stages: prototype, game optimization, and the publishing phase. And this is how we fix everything. In general, once you get access to our platform, you'll see the element that I discussed before. Transparency is everywhere, so we try not only to give you an indication of what is the potential of your prototype, but also to help you understand why this is what we believe and what can be done different in order to make it better next time. Here you can see kind of a broad overview of all the games you submitted into our platform: new games, initial test, iteration, advanced testing, soft launch, etc. And we'll go through the different stages. The stage A, and here I'm speaking about more hyper and hybrid casual. I will touch casual at the end. But for hyper and hybrid casual, which are mass appealing games, relatively more lean, our approach is fail quick and fail cheap. We understand that in general, in any genre in the gaming world, the success ratio is low. And if you are investing too much before getting any initial indication, then it's probably going to take too long and you'll get too tired or you lose your motivation before you'll find the right formula, because it's not that easy to find a right concept that is actually appealing to many people, so sticky, engaging, and therefore we really push our partners to work quick and cheap. In hyper casual, for instance, what we ask for the initial test is no more than 10 levels, core gameplay only, no meta, no rich content. We don't care about it. We don't want to invest so much before the initial test, because we want to get initial feedback from the market before we in the game, from your end, from the creator end as well, and only looking at the initial engagement with the core gameplay when it's only 10 levels. This should take a week and a half with an MVP of core gameplay 10 levels, and this is enough for us under the agenda of fail quick, fail cheap. You put this game into our platform, the game will be tested in several different UA networks, from Facebook to Google to Iron Source, and what you actually get at the end is marketability score, 1 to 5, and a certainty rate, right? Again, the certainty rate is complicated by itself because it's very, very hard to invest a few hundreds of dollars to get a few hundreds of installs and to predict what will be the marketability power when we will scale this game to millions or tens of millions of people. This is why the certainty rate goes up as we are testing more and more elements. We're testing win rate for creatives, for different channels. We're looking at several different things that we put into this grade. But eventually, we understand what is the marketability power of this prototype that we just tested. And in general, this should lead to this table where every marketability score has what we believe the needed performance benchmarks in order to be a profitable business in scale. Meaning that if your game is super marketable, it got a grade of 5, we will get to how, but it got to a grade of 5, then day one retention of 35%, day 7 5%, and playtime in this level would probably be enough to bring an LTV bigger than CAC. But on the other hand, if your marketability score is 1, we will need much, much stronger retention and engagement metrics in order to actually generate this LTV bigger than equation. And we are not only giving this unique score 1 to 5, we're actually presenting everything behind it. You can go at each UA channel to understand what was CPI, how many installs, what was the gender split, age split, placement split, what was the creative performance per each and each creative. Again, everything here is in order for you to understand what worked, what didn't work, who liked this game, who didn't like this game, and why the actual score was 1, 2, 3, 4, or 5. Same for the engagement. You can always see whoever installed the game, what was the engagement, what was the retention, how many people came back to the game, and how long did they play on a daily basis. Again, not the core and the most important element on the initial test, but definitely something that we can also learn from. As part of our stage 1 or prototype score, we also try to lead you and to give you as many knowledge and tools as possible in order to pick the right idea that has the likelihood to have the strong marketability power. So we have a top charts that you can see what games are being installed the most as we speak. Market trends, it's a bi-weekly market trends that we are updating, looking at different core mechanics that are working well in the market these days, different successful games that have been launched, trying to give you kind of a very good updated overview of what is working today in the market. Again, everything for you to try and to come with an innovative idea based on a current strong trend that will improve your likelihood to find initial good success. Tips and tricks and a lot of videos with different tips to pick the right ideas and again, strengthen the possibility to succeed with your game. Let's move to stage B. So let's say that stage A is beyond us. We test the game and we got a marketability score that we believe we can meet the needed engagement metrics. Let's say it's 4, and the core gameplay feels that it can meet this 40% day 1 and 10% day 7, etc. Then we're moving into stage B, where we taking this very lean MVP of 10 level and building a full game out of it, which is something complicated by itself because first of all, there are many concepts that look cool on the video, but once you try to build an actual game out of it, it doesn't work, and the stickiness is not there. On top of that, there are many different directions that you can take for a specific core gameplay. And this is why we are trying to optimize the entire player journey within the game to build it based on data and A/B tests and achieving the strongest tech stability that we can. We have few tools in this area. Again, in this point of time, we have a game designer that's joining the party and helping with the roadmap and the direction of the game, and many different tools that we will use in order to maximize chances we succeed. So we're looking at different tools, the A/B calculator. Everything will be A/B tested because if we will A/B test everything, it will take us years just to build the full game. But we are A/B testing everything that is pivotal and significant for the game, and in some cases we make decisions based on market analysis, hunch, etc., in order to move faster. But we have the most advanced A/B test calculator and tool that existing in the market. On top of that, we are looking, of course, on everything happens within the levels. We're looking at, and again, we know that hyper casual, hybrid casual, very level-based games. We're looking at how many people win one level 1 versus 2 versus 3 versus 4, completely failed. When do users and players churn from the game? What is the average length of each level? We're trying to find the sensitive points of your games that can help improve the entire engagement. So if we see that in level 7, the length is much bigger than other levels, the failure rate is much bigger, and people leave the game in this level, it gives a very strong indication that this level needs to be taken care of. And this is a big part of the optimization we are doing throughout the game. We're looking at stability with the tool for that, making sure that your game is stable on Android and iOS on all countries and all on different A/B tests. So many different tools that help you to take this lean MVP 10 levels and build a full game out of it. Then we're moving into stage three, the publishing stage, the stage that we all want to get into. It means that we are scaling the game. We're putting a lot of user acquisition money, creatives work, to bring many users into your game, then monetize them and making profits, of course. And here as well, everything will be managed by our user acquisition teams and creative team, monetization team. But we bring all the data for you as well to have everything. So we have quite a very flexible dashboard that help you to analyze and understand everything happened within your game. How do users interact with the game? What is the average daily revenue per user, per significant, per specific cohort? You can look at users that are coming from Iron Source or Google or Unity ads and see what is the different quality that we have. How many ads do they watch a day? How many purchases do they make a day? What is the revenue coming from ads, revenue coming from in-app purchases? So everything that's happening there is very transparent and visible. Again, for you to understand what happens within the game, how does it become a profitable business? After all, again, another look on the creative side and user acquisition side. Many times we try very innovative things that are not always within the game itself on the creative side, and we can see if there is a good engagement, then we can add it into the game. So we always try to combine this user acquisition and actual product different go-to-market strategy. Of course, you can follow profit in real time and to see what is the profit per day the game is generating as of today. This is it. In order to summarize the hyper-hybrid world, which I discussed, we start with ideation, core gameplay, what is the game loop vision, move into marketability, where we get an indication of how expensive or cheap it is going to be, what is the cost per install we are going to have once we scale the game. After we get this marketability score, we decide yes, no, do we believe we can achieve LTV bigger than CAC? After understanding what is going to be the CAC, then we're moving into a GDD, again, design document. We decide whether it's taking more a hyper vision or more hybrid vision. Is it going to be mainly ad-based, interstitial, banners, rewarded video, or more hybrid with in-app purchases, rewarded video, etc.? It means that the funnel is a bit different for each one. We're moving into iteration, monetization, trying to meet the needed KPIs in order to scale it. The time that it takes is also different, right? Hyper, we know it's up to about 6 months, usually from idea until you can publish the game. Hybrid is already toward the 9 months. The risk is higher, of course, but it's a deeper game, deeper product that requires more work and more iteration on it, but this is how it looks in general. 2 slides about our casual, because this is something that we had added this year on top of hyper and hybrid. And in general, we want to support all creators out there. So we don't want to limit ourselves only to hyper, but also to casual and different casual genres, from puzzle to PvP, multiplayer action, etc. It does require a bit of a different take on the funnel that I just described, different tools from advanced live ops to segmentation, etc. We're building this funnel to be end-to-end support, just like we have in hyper and hybrid. And I think that the main thing that is different is that the funnel and the stage are a bit longer, right? Because on the MVP test, we're actually looking already on the MVP test day one, because on casual, unlike hyper and hybrid, it's not only about the marketability power and whether we can find this LTV that justifies it. You have to generate a very strong engagement, very strong LTV in order to scale it profitability. It means that already on the initial test, we are not looking only on marketability, but also on day one engagement. It of course means that the MVP production is longer. It's not 1, 2 weeks, 10 levels only. It's more toward 2 or 3 months of work before building the MVP. And after this, we can make a call, because again, on casual, the weight of importance that the engagement has is as important or even more important than the marketability power. It means more risk, of course, for both sides, because you need to work for 2 or 3 months before you get initial indication for the market. But on the other end, of course, the reward, if you are able to build a very successful casual game, is bigger. And then the process is quite similar in terms of working on the retention. There is more focus on retention as well, right? So day 30, day 180, etc. Monetization, which is quite similar, soft launch, ROAS optimization, and we usually see this taking at least 1 year, if not more. Again, higher risk, higher gain, but a bit of a different process, but also something that we want to support very, very closely. This is it. In order to summarize everything that I mentioned, so we are here in order to allow you to stay focused on the creation side. The creation part became already too complicated not to build a successful business, and we are here to help you stay focused there. And we have quite a vast experience on this entire funnel to help you make the right decisions, use the right tools in order to get there. And we are today in all different genres. So whatever you are doing, we are here and happy to collaborate and explore the collaboration with you. And this is it. We're also running competition now, by the way, for whoever is in the hybrid casual world. We're running it twice a year. It's actually live throughout the entire of November. You can scan it and learn more about the conditions. There are still almost more than a week to participate in it, but again, we're running it twice a year, so we're going to have another one toward the beginning of next year, the spring.